I'm making this baseball clip with free tools. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, let's get into it. The first free tool I'm using is Autograph by Maxon. It is awesome. It is a replacement for After Effects. First thing I'm going to do is make it a VHD, a vertical, and I'm going to take it down to 15 seconds. I have the assets that I made. So I'm going to drag in the assets. First thing I have here is the background logo. So I have the background logo in there. It's in the timeline. This is the source. And I'm going to scale it. You can scale it by dragging this back and forth, or you can type. I'm going to take it down to 25. That's looking good. And then I am going to add a tile to it. So this tiles it out. You can tighten up the tile by adjusting the gutters. See? That's looking good. All right, now I'm going to add a gradient. I'm going to change the type to reflected. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit Alt on my keyboard. You see how it changes the gizmo? And you can start rotating it, and then I'll hold Shift. I want to, it goes in 45-degree increments. I want it at a 90. That looks good. So now I want to come over here to the gradient, select on this, double click on the white. I want it to be blue, maybe a little bit darker blue. I'm liking that. So let's take the gradient, put it underneath the baseball logo. Now I want to animate this baseball logo, and I want it to animate on the position here. So we go over to properties, but not on both positions, just on one position, a singular position. And I want to animate it on the current time. And then I'll set this multiplier to -10. And when you hit play, you see how it's moving down and to the left. That looks good, but it needs to blend in a little bit more with the gradient. So I'm going to come up here to a blend mode and do soft light. All right. So now we have our background. That's looking good. Now we're going to do some logo animations. So this is what we have so far. I'm going to animate this logo, and you animate it with positions. So let's start at the beginning. I'm going to type in 1 second. That takes us to the 1 second. I have it selected. I'm going to put a keyframe there. You see there's a keyframe right here. So now you can come over here, hit U on the keyboard. You can see that we have a keyframe at 1 second for this position. Now if I drag it back to the beginning, I can use these gizmos here and drag it up. Or I can come over here and drag here. I can hold Shift to drag faster. Drag it all the way up. Now it's going to interpolate from here to here. So when I hit play, see? So that's kind of boring. What's really cool about Autograph is it has a bunch of interpolations. And I'm going to come in here and go to bounce. So now we put that on there. Boom. Isn't that fun? Boom. And you can actually come over here and look at the graph editor hit F to frame this, and you can see what it's doing. And you can tweak these if you want, but I'm just going to go with the basic presets. Frame this. So when it comes here, I want this to kind of be a wipe. So when it stops here, I want to animate the scale. So I'm going to come over here, hit keyframe, come back and select this. We can hit U. Now we see that we have a keyframe for scale. And I'm going to drag it out to 2 seconds or so and scale it up to about here. See? So now, if we go back, we can go back to this keyframe. See how that's scaling? So let's see what we got so far. So I'm going to hit play. Boom. Scale up. Nice. But I want it from here, I want to rotate it as well. So I'm going to come to this keyframe. I'm going to make a keyframe for rotation. So let's see, we got a keyframe for rotation. I hit U again just to see where it's at. And then we're going to come to here, and I want to rotate it like so. So let's see what we got. It should come down, bounce. Bounce, zoom in, and rotate. Nice. So that's looking good. And the very last thing I want it to do is render the opacity. So I'm going to put a keyframe for opacity. Come over here, hit U. Now I can see the keyframe for opacity. Bring it back to about right here. I'm going to put another keyframe. And then when it comes to this keyframe, I want to take it down to 0. So this should be the whole animation. It'll come in, bounce, and dissolve. See? It's just like After Effects. It's pretty awesome. And actually, if you want to stretch it, look, you can select all this. And now you have this bounding box where you can speed it up and slow it down, make it real slow or speed it up a little bit. So that's looking good to me. Okay. And the next thing I want to do is I have this video clip that I made with AI. Actually storyboarded it out. Whoa. That's pretty crazy. Let's scale it up. So now I'm going to move this out a little bit. And I want it to start like right when he hits it. So right about there, I'm going to move it here. So boom. And it's going to come up and hit. And right about there, we want the logo to be coming down. Maybe come a little bit more. So you see that this is, the animation for the opacity is happening too quickly. So I'm going to zoom in here. I can hold Alt by zooming in. I can hold Control to go back and forth. So I'm going to bring this in a little bit. And hit Control, right arrow to go to the beginning. Hit play. I'm going to frame this up. I want so let's trim this. Let's see what we got. All right, so we got the first part. Looking good. Now the next part I want to do is I want to bring in the blue boy. I'm going to put it right underneath the logo because we're using that as, and there's black on here. So I need to put a different, I'm going to use screen. I'm going to zoom this down a little bit, move them over. Let's put in the pink girl. I'm going to put her as screen as well. These are blend modes. So let's her down a little bit. Maybe a little more. Okay. So now we have these two in here. Line it up. Oh. Over here. So now I'll kind of mess this up a little bit. Nice. Boom. Okay. So let's see what we got so far. So we hit play. Crack. So now we have our characters here looking good. And I made these characters using, I'll show you what I used. ChatGPT. I just talked them into existence. So I went into ChatGPT and I said, hey, and it didn't even look that good. It's all, the eyes were kind of messed up. I was like, can you, and I didn't like the stance of this guy. So I was like, can you make another stance for him and also make the background black? So this is what I got. And this works well because I can use black to use a blend mode. And then I took that into Google Gemini and just rendered out this clip here. So it looks pretty good, actually, I think. So the next thing, got them set in there. We're going to bring in the verses. Just going to put that right in the center. And what I want to do is when the ball comes in and it hits right about here, then I want the verses to, I want to animate the scale a little bit just to give it a little bit of pizzazz. So I'm going to come over here to scale, hit keyframe, hit U in there. So now I can see it. And I'm going to scale it up a little bit and then scale it back down. So now we have this. So it comes in, boom. And I want this scale to kind of happen right, boom, right there. So let's see what that looks like. You know, I'm thinking, I want to tighten this up a little bit. So I want this background logo. There we go. Boom. And I want the background logo to move a little bit faster. Just a little bit faster. So I'm going to grab the background, frame it up, grab all this, tighten it a little bit, and let's see what that. All right. So let's tighten all these things up. And we want to tighten this up. We want the add to cut out a little bit sooner. So that's what we got. We got boom. All right. Control right arrow. Let's see what we got. Play. I want this to happen a little sooner. Okay. There we go. Let's play it. See what we got. Boom, boom. Coming up. Nice. That feels good. So next we're going to put in our logos. Okay. So we got all, let's put in our Spoonbill logo. I'm going to put it under there. Shrink it down a little bit. Place it right here. I made these in ChatGPT too. Everything I've done with this clip is free. I'll leave a link in the description of this video for these assets if you want to try out this method. So now we got the turtle. Scale it down a little bit. That's looking pretty good. So let's trim this up to where we are. Now, let's animate these things coming in. So right here, I'm going to add a position scale. And I'm going to drag it back and then drag it out. Okay. So we have the spoonbill. So we have our spoonbill logo here. So it's going to come in right there. And I want to do another interpolation with the bounce. So boom. Yep. It's looking good. Let's do the same thing with the turtle. I'm going to put a position key here and then drag it back. Drag him out of there. Hit our U so we can see that. Right click on this, put an interpolation for the bounce. And let's see what we got. Boom. Nice. Let's see what we got from the beginning. Clack. Graphic comes in. Nice wipe. Boom. That's looking pretty clean. So the next thing we want to do is add some text. And you can do that by either hitting Q, or you can hit Shift Q, or you can hit this little button right here. Go to text, add a text, and it will pop right in there. I want to drag that underneath. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I'll drag it here. And we can use a little gizmo, pull it up. I'm going to change it to impact. I'm going to type Friday, 8 p.m. and click the arrow here so I can move it around, get it nice and centered, maybe take up the pixels a little bit. That's looking good. And what we want to do is animate that coming on. So we go over here to the animators. You can click this little plus sign and we're going to animate the opacity. And the starting opacity for this is going to be 0. Okay. And when we go to the range, we can do the range from 0 to 100. And watch. It'll come on. One letter at a time. Isn't that nice? So I'm going to add a keyframe here at 0. Bump it up a little bit. Put it to 100. Now let's look at that layer. Hit U. need to trim this up to where it's... Okay, so here's our start range. So it's going to come on, and boom, just like that. So let's see what we have. Hit play. Yep. Fade, boom. I want that to come in a little sooner. So boom, then the letters. Right about there. So boom, wow. Still sooner. Nice. Boom. Yeah, I like it. So let's watch the whole thing back. It'd be crack. Whoa, nice. Boom. Music. So that is how Autograph works. I mean, it's free, and it is so powerful with these generators and these modifiers and how it's set up. That's the last thing we need to do is render it out. So you come back over here to your composition, you right click on that, add to the render manager, and the render manager has 3 different sections on it. This section shows where you're rendering it to on your hard drive. This section shows the different formats that you can do. And this section here shows what you would want to render it out. It's set as a movie, but I'll probably render it out as an MP4. And then, you know, we can come back here, change the file name, and then you just hit the render button, and it'll render it out clean. So the next thing, one of the things I wanted to show you, and this is pretty cool, and see how this comes up like this and it's kind of blurry. Well, I wanted to see if I could make this into an SVG and bring it in and make it cleaner. So that what I did is I brought it over to After Effects and selected this After Effects. I made a vector, I made an image trace, and this traced it from a PNG. Now if you look at this, one's a PNG and one is vector based. So once I hit this, it turned it into vectors. See? And I can save that out as an SVG. So I can come in here for this layer, for the background layer, and I can come into its source right here, and I can click the SVG and watch what it'll brighten it up. See? Now it's crystal clean. And that works as an animation as well. It animates the SVG. Watch this. Super clean. And when it zooms in, it's not pixelated. So that's fantastic. I love that. So after we rendered that out, I brought it over to DaVinci Resolve, which is free as well. And I went to ElevenLabs and I downloaded a bunch of effects, like a baseball hit, kind of a whoosh sound, and then I put all that into this. So it's pretty simple. I just brought in the clip. I started dragging in these clips where I wanted it. I went into the color grader, loaded that up, hit autocorrect, made it look clean. Sometimes you got to work on the contrast a little bit. And then once I got all the sound effects and everything into that, I went to the render tab, put it where I wanted it, added it to render queue, and then rendered it out. And that is what we got in the final clip here. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, kind of giving an insight. I'm going to rebrand my AI Pot Pie channel into what I'm using. I'm rebuilding all my tools I'm doing an AI assisted tool pipeline, all free, using free tools, and it's amazing what you can get. So if you want these assets and you want to try out this tutorial, look for the link in the description of this video, and I'll just give you the assets and you can try this out yourself. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll look forward to making another video. See you soon.